Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Inside Career Technical Education. I'm one of the hosts of this program, Ann Baldwin.
And I'm Jim Bologa, President and CEO of PorterChester Institute and YTI Career Institute.
So things are going pretty well. You enjoying the spring weather a little bit?
I am.
It's really nice. It really has a big effect on how I feel. I don't know about you, but
it's outstanding.
It's a game changer, as they say.
Well, yeah, it is, and it's great to get outside and enjoy the warm weather. I didn't really enjoy the recent cold spell, but hopefully that killed all the ticks. Because my dog is a tick magnet.
So is mine, and I don't think so. I've taken 2 off in the last 2 days. But anyway, we'll get off of the tick thing. And Jim, I'm so excited that this young lady agreed to be on the program today because she is one of your graduates with just an amazing story of her commitment to her career, her commitment to her current employer, of which she was gobbled up, had several offers, which we'll let her speak about. But Alexander, but she likes to go by Lexi, Babineau is joining us. And Lexi, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy day at work today to join Jim and I.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
So, Jim, why don't you, I already know her story because we also did a video with Lexi, and it's on the Porter and Chester website if you want to check it out, PorterChester.edu. She's a lovely young woman, but I know a lot of stuff that you don't know, or our listeners, so I'll let you start.
Well, I'm always fascinated by how people find us. So maybe Lexi can share that a little bit about how she came to find Porter and Chester Institute, and maybe just talk a little bit about her decision-making process.
Sure.
Yeah, of course. So originally I had a bunch of teachers in high school because I loved the technical classes, and he offered or recommended that I go to a technical institute, and Porter and Chester was one of the ones that he highly suggested according to proximity and what I was interested in with CAD. But the main factor was I had a friend who was already enrolled in a different trade, and he noticed that there was CAD classes, and I had tried the college thing. I was enrolled in college, and he kept telling me, I think this would be a great fit for you. So I decided to take a chance on it, and I looked through the website. I went and did my tours. I talked to all of the people working there, and it was the best decision ever because it was a perfect fit for me.
So talk a little bit about why you were drawn to technology and CAD, Jim, as you've seen with your enrollment. It's just such an emerging there's such emerging interest because now with 3D design and all the new technology and all the new tools, it's not what it used to be. It's not a blueprint sitting on a table.
No, absolutely. And we'll let Lexi sort of share her experience with us as well. But, I think what's really intriguing about CAD is that, the software that's available now allows you to model almost anything. Whereas in the past, there were generally, it was a long R&D cycle time in terms of producing a prototype, whether you were in, manufacturing and producing a tool or a die, or any sort of, industry where you had to produce a prototype. And I think now the fact that you can model this in a 3-dimensional way, really accelerates the time to market for employers in a variety of industries. And and I'd love to hear a little bit about, Lexi's experience in terms of, becoming maybe more proficient in something like SolidWorks, which has become an industry standard.
Well, and before we get to that, Lexi, you had talked about how long did it take you to graduate from the program here at Porter and Chester's Rocky Hill campus?
So the program was a year, and it took just about that, and it was very comprehensive the whole time, and it was very hands-on, and we learned so much during it.
And then you said during your whole time here, you told me before during our interview that really career services played a great role in helping you get that job right upon graduation.
Oh, absolutely. And that was not only career services, but also the teachers involved. They were very hands-on with helping us and guiding us in which ways we should go. And one of the best parts for me about the program is that you got to learn both architectural and mechanical drafting and designing, which I don't think is common in most places. And that was very beneficial for pointing me in the direction of where I would want to go with it. So I got to see that I mainly enjoyed mechanical, so I was lucky enough to then be able to pursue that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because historically we actually have always had architectural and mechanical, and as the marketplace has dictated for us, sometimes we've added civil as well. So bridges and roads and those kinds of design elements, and that sort of comes in and out of the curriculum. So it just depends on the ebbs and flows of what's going on, in the local economies where we adjust the curriculum. But generally, the core is going to be architectural and mechanical, and even there's times, throughout the years where we've adjusted. So if there's maybe a little bit more interest locally in terms of employment demand, we'll emphasize mechanical a little bit more. Conversely, if there's, interest on the architectural side or the building side of things, we'll spend a little bit more time there. And
Right.
it really just depends on really where we're at in various business cycles and what the marketplace needs based on our program advisory committee members and our employers who obviously are looking to hire our graduates.
Well, you'll be glad to know. So let's kind of cut to the chase, Lexi. So you had multiple offers upon graduation. Why don't you share with our listeners and Jim, who kind of snatched you up, where you're working, what they do, and what your responsibilities are. I know that's a lot to talk about, but we want to hear from you.
Yeah, so I did have a couple offers, but the one that fit best with me from the start of the first interview and talking with them was a company called Siftex. It's a great company to work for. What I am here is I'm a production technician, and I get to see the process of what we make from start to finish. So that includes designing the items, then we can 3D print them, cutting them, welding them, manufacturing them, and then seeing them all the way through. And I think that that's one of the best parts of this job. Also with this job, I really appreciate that I've gotten training that I didn't get at Porter and Chester that is unrelated to what I went for. And it's just been a big broadening experience for me with different machines and implementing all of the 3D and 2D design that I learned into other aspects that I wouldn't have even thought about before. And I think that that is just so beneficial. The company itself is great. Everybody's very close. It's a smaller company, but it's really, really nice. We produce high quality, flexible connectors as well as sifter and screener supplies. Most of them are food grade because a lot of our consumers are food companies like Frito-Lay and other places like that. We work with big companies, small companies, and it's just the education there has prepared me for this so well, and it just was the absolute perfect fit for me. I couldn't have honestly pictured myself anywhere better.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me because, here we are in April of 2021. Lexi graduated from Porter and Chester Institute in Rocky Hill in April of 2020. And Lexi, you graduated from high school when again?
2018.
2018. So, here in really 2 years after she graduated, she made her way to Porter and Chester, got through the program, and a year later, she's, I'm assuming you're sort of a traditional student, 18, had 3, you're now 21 years old. Many of your contemporaries are still in school, which is fine. That's what they chose to do. And you've been out in the workforce for a year now, and it sounds like you're having a phenomenal experience. Not only have you gained tremendous skills while you're here with us, but it sounds like you've learned a lot from your employer just in terms of, the business that you guys are in.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, I couldn't have pictured a better future for myself back when I was graduating high school.
And I got to tell you, because we spoke to your supervisor, Caddy, as part of the video that we produced. And, to Lexi's credit, Caddy talks about the soft skills that Lexi also brought to the table. And that's also what's taught here at Porter and Chester Institute, our soft skills. So the importance of being on time, the importance of being responsible, the importance of, just doing things that make you a good employee.
Right.
That's also part of the curriculum here too. And Lexi, they could not sing your praises high enough. They were so excited that you chose them. That's really what you did because you had other options. And I think that really says a lot for your integrity, your skill set, and for your trade.
Yeah. So I guess just pivoting a little bit more. So Lexi, what advice would you have to, prospective, high school students right now who are, who are in that sort of decision-making process? Many of them are at the end. They're waiting for, the results to come back from all their applications. But for those students who, may not, not really know what they're going to do in their future. I mean, what advice would you give to them, being a relatively recent high school graduate?
Honestly, I would give them the advice that I wish someone had given me at the time. And I was in that decision-making process as well. Like I said, I did try college and I was only there for one semester before I decided to go to Porter and Chester. And I think that it is so much more beneficial to try a trade school in general, a skilled trade, because it is so much more beneficial. It's a means to a guaranteed end of a job. As long as you do your work, which is very, very easy, you're going to get to where you want to be. And there's always you can always go back to school in the future. And as well as you can always do a trade school in the future, but I think coming out of the bat, it would be so much more enjoyable, as it was for me, for many people to do this instead.
That's great advice. Well, Lexi Babineau, we want to thank you so much. We never say good luck because you don't need it. Continued success to you. Also, a big shout out to Siftex, your employer. And we want to let people who are watching this this is a real life story. This is somebody's real information that Lexi just was willing to share with us. We hope that if we piqued your interest in the CAD trade or any of the trades at Porter and Chester, that you will go to the website and check it out. That's PorterChester.edu.
So again, I want to thank Lexi for sharing your experience with us. I also want to thank my co-host, Ann, and I want to thank our listeners for tuning in to this edition of Inside Career Technical Education.